Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about flying the DJI Neo 1 and the DJI Neo 2 in high winds, and more importantly, how much these small drones can handle the wind safely. So if you've ever wondered whether or not it's safe to fly the DJI Neo on a windy day, or how the Neo 2 compares to it in gusty conditions, this video is going to give you all the exact specs you need for real wind environments and a few tips to avoid losing your drone. So first of all, I'm going to start off with the DJI Neo. And before I get started, I'm not sponsored, so if you could do the like, subscribe and the notification bell, that would be really greatly appreciated. So the Neo itself is designed to be one of the smallest and lightest camera drones that DJI has ever made. It weighs only 135 grams and it makes it incredibly portable and easy to launch wherever. But because it's so light, the wind resistance is an important factor, and the DJI Neo has a maximum wind resistance of level 4. So a level 4 wind is described as being a fresh breeze. But in actual wind speeds, that equates to around about 8 meters per second, or 18 miles an hour, or 29 kilometers an hour. So technically, the DJI Neo can stabilize itself in winds up to around about 18 miles an hour. So flying right at the maximum wind rating is not really, things are blowing over. So say it again, so flying right at the maximum wind rating is not really recommended. Now when the wind does get close to that level, you'll often see that the drone is tilting sharply to maintain its position, and the motors are going to be working harder and the battery draining itself faster than it would normally do. You're also going to notice that the drone is going to be slowing down significantly when it's flying into wind. Now, when you look at the DJI Neo 2, the Neo 2 builds up on the original Neo with some improvements in flight stability and processing. Again, it's extremely lightweight and comes in at 160 grams with the transceiver. And that small increase in weight can help significantly to help stabilize windy conditions. So unlike the original Neo, the Neo 2 has a maximum wind resistance of level 5, and that's going to translate at approximately 10.7 meters per second, or 24 miles an hour, or 38 kilometers an hour. So even though the official wind rating is roughly the same, the updated flight control system and the slightly heavier design can make the Neo 2 feel a bit more stable when it's dealing with gusts. And here's the key thing that everybody needs to understand, is that the wind resistant ratings usually assume a steady wind and not sudden gusts. And gusts are what usually cause problems for smaller drones such as the Neo and the Neo 2. So even if the forecast does say that it's going to be 15 mile an hour winds, if gusts are reaching 25 miles an hour, then the drone could be pushed briefly beyond its rated wind resistance. And that's why experienced pilots rarely fly at a maximum rating. But today it's quite windy. We've had gusts of up to 40 mile an hour forecast, but I am going to see how both drones react in winds like this. So it is better really to try and stay comfortably below whatever the wind speed is, just to be on the safe side. And there are a few quick tips that you can remember when you are flying the Neo or the Neo 2 when the wind starts to pick up. Always, first of all, check the wind at the altitude, because obviously the higher up the drone is, the stronger the wind's going to be. So if you have got high winds, try and bring the drone down a bit, and that's going to be safer and better all round. And it's also going to help preserve a little bit of battery power. The second is to try and fly into the wind when you first take off. And this is going to help you confirm that the drone can actually comfortably fly against the wind before you send it further away. Now, if you fly the drone downwind first, the drone may travel quickly away from you, but then it's going to have trouble coming back and you run the risk of losing the drone. And then you want to look at the way that the drone is hovering, because if the drone is leaning heavily to one side just to stay in place, that's a sign that the motors are working hard to fight against the wind. And when that happens, it's usually best to bring the drone back, or again fly at a lower altitude where the wind is going to be weaker. And as I said, always bear in mind the battery life. So flying in winds which are high does mean that the motors are going to work harder and the batteries are going to be draining faster than normal. So always leave extra battery for the return flight, especially when you have got really windy conditions. So just to quickly recap, the DJI Neo weighs in at 135 grams, maximum wind resistance of level 4, so that's 18 miles an hour or 29 kilometers an hour. The DJI Neo 2 is coming in slightly heavier at 160 grams. It has a level 5 wind resistance, and that's going to equate to 24 miles per hour or 38 kilometers per hour. So both, is the camera going off then? Right. So both drones can handle moderate winds surprisingly well for their size, but in strong winds like this, we'll just see exactly how they're going to do. I'll press the max. 17. So that came in there gusting 22 miles an hour. So it's cut up 22 miles an hour. So I'll just see how it goes with that. So I'm going to start off with the Neo. I'm just going to see how far it goes and how well it performs. So the wind's coming directly onto me, so I'm going to launch it now into the wind. Right. So it's coming in. So it is coming in now at 15, 20 miles an hour wind. Now that's being pushed right the way across. You see that? And the drone's not going anywhere, or very slowly. That's moving now. And again, if I push it forwards, and again the drone, that's full on, full throttle on, and the drone's not going anywhere. So that just goes to show you how it can react when you have got really gusty blows. And that's full on throttle again. Again, not really going anywhere. Full on throttle, nothing. So that goes to show when it is coming in at high winds, you will have a lot of issues with the original Neo. It doesn't like it, but you can still fly it, but you need to use a bit of caution and a bit of common sense when you are doing it. So I'm going to put the Neo into sport mode and see how it gets on with that. So that's full on, and it was only doing 2 meters a second. So even in sports mode, it's not even reaching 4 meters a second. Yeah, so even in winds up to about 20 miles an hour, it did do quite well, really. In the heavier gusts, it did struggle a bit, and I was doing full throttle and it wasn't going anywhere. But up to around about 20 miles an hour, it was, yeah, it wasn't too bad. So I'm going to go on now and I'm going to try the Neo 2. And again, it's still going up to around about the 22, 23 mile an hour mark. So I'll take off again into the wind. So it's struggling quite a bit. And you can see it's coming in at 20, or it was coming in at 22.7 miles an hour. So that seems to be going great at this sort of wind. Hello, full throttle, and it's staying. So you can see now it's coming back at around about 4 meters a second. But if I go into the wind, that's full on, and it's doing about 2 meters a second into the wind. So it's really struggling with that. Let's take it up a bit. So although that's full on now, so it's only going around about 3 meters a second. So I'm going to flip it into sport mode and see how it gets on with that. So even in sport mode, it's only going 4 meters a second as against the gusts. So both drones did struggle in normal mode. So just bear in mind, if you do get into any difficulty, just bring the drone down to a lower level, flick it into sport, and then try and get it back to you. The lower you are, the less wind there's going to be. Okay, if you found the video useful, if you could do the like, subscribe and the notification bell, that would be greatly appreciated. If you've got any questions in relation to the DJI Neo 1, the Neo 2, the Hover X1 Pro or Pro Max, the Mini 4 Pro, the Mini 5 Pro, or any action cameras, or if there's anything you want to see on the channel, let me know and I'll do my best to help you out, and I'll catch you again next time. And again, thanks for watching.